Welcome. In the mood for a show?
What show's on right now?
The Bear. Mm-hmm.
Can I buy a ticket, please?
Right there. Just head inside the tent.
Folks, I'm going to tell you a morality tale from when our country was young that the settlers used to tell about the woods of Massachusetts and the creatures that lived there. One summer, a bear was by the stream, and Old Man Wind appeared and said, "Bear, I shall blow a mighty cold upon the land, and gorge yourself on fish and meat, and go find a den. Then sleep, not for one night, but for 60. Go tell all the animals of the forest what I have told you." Bear was sad because the fish were his friends, and now he had to eat them. But he knew to do whatever the wind told him. The animals of the forest often teased Bear and said he was slow and lazy and foolish for listening to Old Man Wind. "You're talking to the wind again, eh?" laughed the rabbit. "I think Bear has finally taken leave of his senses," said the turtle. "And he's getting so rotund that even I could outrun him." "I'm smart and quick," said Rabbit. "I'll outrun Old Man Wind if he comes a-calling, or you, since you're into eating your friends." The turtle said, "If Wind comes, I'll just hide in my shell." Then Bear went and warned Coyote and Possum that they should prepare for a long, cold winter. "It's so hot," said the Coyote. "There's plenty of time." The lazy Possum said, "Well, there's an abundance of food. Maybe I'll just store some in my pouch." Even his squirrel friends made fun of Bear. They laughed and laughed and squibbled and squabbled. "Chunky needs a nap. Fatty Goody Two-Shoes does what he's told." Bear was very sad. But he was a good bear, and he always did what Old Man Wind told him. He went and found a den, snuggled inside, and fell fast asleep. Bear snored and snored for many days. When he woke up, he saw spring had come. He was very hungry, so he walked outside. As the snow melted, he saw all his friends who hadn't listened, frozen and just ready to be eaten. And that's why the bear hibernates. So listen to your elders and do just what you're told.
Welcome. In the mood for a show?
Which show is it today?
The Legend of Josiah Blackwater today. Local favorite so far.
Ticket, please.
Okay, head on in. Tent to your left.
Welcome, one and all, to the remarkable example of modern entertainment at its finest. Now, most of you young'uns, I'm sure, know about our great national hero and pioneer, Josiah Blackwater. Him that gave the town of Blackwater its nomenclature. You see, only about 100 years ago, weren't nothing here but big old forest, ferocious beasts, surly savages, arid deserts, and unconquered mountains. The West, well, the whole West was untamed. Your mama probably told you bedtime stories about Josiah's many adventures. But I'm going to tell you a story you ain't likely to have heard about his possum hat. Now, Josiah Blackwater was born in the year of our Lord 1782 in a log cabin just west of Ansburg. He was a special boy. His pa gave him his first rifle when he was 3 years old. Boy, he took to it right away. He exclaimed, "There's a whole mess of critters out there in the woods that aim to eat us, so I'm going to consume them first." Yes, sir. He really took to killing all manner of things. He was such a keen shot. One morning, he was sorting up some winter turnips for the root cellar when a big old bear and her cubs came in the kitchen hunting for food. It had a mind to eat up all the jams and preserves. Josiah grabbed that bear and wrestled her to the ground and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. Ma and Pa knew right then he was cut out to be the finest wild frontiersman that ever drew breath. But first, they wanted him to get some book learning. After only 3 days of attending school, Josiah beat the living daylights out of the cloud bully and announced to his daddy that he was tired of ciphering and mathematics on account it's only good for adding up the number of critters or Indians you can kill. So he ran away from home and headed west. Now these lands were occupied by savages then, and when Josiah Blackwater came scouting through, he recognized it to be a land of splendor. Blackwater wore a possum for a hat, but most don't know how that came to be. Well, one day, old Josiah was riding a couple of alligators down the Lanahatchee River, riding, standing up, and shooting eagles right out of the sky, when he sees a big old mountain lion about to eat a possum. Josiah grabbed that mountain lion by the tail and wrestled it till it was plumb dead. Well, that possum really took to Josiah. Followed him around like a dog loyal to its master. Yes, they had a lot of adventures together. Now Josiah never cried a day in his life, but he pert near dead on the day that possum passed. For they were mighty fine friends. So he skinned it and made it into a hat. Back in them days, a possum skin was as good as money, but he never parted with that hat, not even for $10. Once he founded the town of Blackwater, he sent word for settlers to come. It was the last stop in the west before San Francisco. He met a girl by the name of Rufina Helsby at a barn dance one night, took her as his wife, and settled down. Built himself a cattle empire and had 14 youngins. But Josiah Blackwater wasn't the home-loving kind, and he grew mighty restless. One day on the courthouse steps, he announced Possum had every day as a congressman, as a reminder of where he come from, saying, I may live in barbaric splendor, but I always remember, keep your friends close and your gun closer, because you don't know when you might have to shoot them.
Hello there. Here for the show?
What do you have playing today?
One of the wonders of the age, Man Flight. Highly recommended. Right then, just head inside the tent.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to share with you one of the wonders of the age. In fact, one of the wonders of any age. Aerial navigation, or as we call it, man flight. Soaring through the heavens in flying machines, so that even gravity itself can be mastered. An amazing and bewildering spectacle, but I assure you everything I am about to share with you is true. Now, we are all familiar with the potential cruelties and injustices of travel by horse, wagon, or locomotive. You are like to be beset upon by the infinite savagery of wicked men or bloodthirsty beasts that lurk in the bogs and plains of these tormented lands. But what if I told you for a certainty that man will soon be traveling across the heavens with wings like a bird? I am sure you think I am full of untruth, but I have not drank a pint of liquor in over a year, and I will do my utmost to demonstrate the veracity of my claims. For 100 years, steamboats have engaged in passage along our great rivers, but a man by the name of Cecil H. Peck is in the process of inventing a steamboat for the sky. The only limitation on its speed, at which the porter can shovel on more coal. But parts of the country where coal is scarce, oars can be used in the skies to hasten your voyage and keep the passengers active while they travel. Near Pittsburgh, there lives a telegraph man named Aldous Kinnear, who each evening after supper retires to his barn and dons the wings of a giant creature and takes to the heavens. You will be delighted to know he has traveled considerable distances, as many as 45 miraculous feet. Unfortunately, on his record-breaking flight, he knocked over a lamp and was consumed by flames. His two boys, Percival and Charles, have promised to continue their dear pa's legacy of
Skyflight. A whole heap of men are fashioning contraptions to take us to the heavens. A flying machine powered by a trusty donkey. Once you arrive at your destination, you can mount the saddle and ride away. With this incredible contraption, one can enjoy some popcorn and have the best view in the house at the next flogging or lynching. Stagecoach robberies will soon be a relic of the past when we enlist our animal friends as couriers, well out of range of man's shooting irons. But the most remarkable thing I have to reveal to you comes from a northern man called Moss John Nichols. Imagine travel without ever getting into a saddle. No doubt you have heard accounts or seen in person the majesty of flight achieved by performers in the circus. Mr. Nichols has perfected the Sky Cannon. Passengers simply walk up the steps, relax into the barrel, and are transported with great flourish to the destination of their choice. The lame and infirmed who have been ravaged by scarlet fever or polio can once again call upon their loved ones. These newlyweds are all grown up, turned 17, said their wedding vows, and are off to visit New York City. And some very forward thinkers have told me that within 10 years, dear audience, any of us can take a holiday trip to the moon. I must disclose I'm quite partial to this mode of transport. Ships and horses are like to sour my stomach. The future is in the skies, my friends. Look to the heavens. We are going to join him up there by and by.
Hello, can I help you?
What do you have playing today?
Get ready for this. Saviors and Savages, a trip around the world.
Ticket for one, please.
Right then, just head inside the tent.
Welcome, one and all. I'm going to take you on a journey around the world to parts unseen by most men. Why, I have traversed the great lands and oceans of the globe and bring you sights and scenes from places far away. First, to jolly old England. Have you been to New York City? A marvelous statue. It was a gift from France. Don't change their ways, are falling behind. A place that never gets hot. You don't sweat while toiling in the field, and ice is much cheaper there. I predict that someday people of all nations will join hands at the North Pole, wearing furs and eating fish. My next adventure will be to visit Egypt. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on these fantastic journeys.
Hi, looking to see a show?
Who's playing?
The Ghostly Serenade. Most excellent.
I need a ticket, please.
We'll be starting soon, just inside the tent there.
Greetings and salutations, gentlefolk. This here's the story about a young couple from the village of Annisburg that was courting a few years after the Revolutionary War. Courting in the woods, as you know young people want to do. Stealing away all sneaky-like. Girl by the name of Ethel Beauchard snuck out of the parlor one evening just as soon as her mother went out to hang clothes on the line from the washing. She met up on the road by her farm with a boy by the name of Eugene Hutton. Now, the Hutton boy was an athletic chap, liked boxing, fishing, and swinging Indian clubs. It's quite singular to the story that he didn't seem all that inclined to go to war in the preceding years leading up. Well, they walked in the woods for a while. Pretty soon they lost their bearings and no longer knew the north from the south, nor east from west neither. Then they heard a low moaning sound.
What's that terrible noise?
She said all a tremble. Must be a sick calf looking for its mama. They've been known to bawl like that. Let me take a look, said Eugene. Well, old Eugene went and disappeared around a tree, came out the other side, and gave her a terrible fright. Boom! She let out a shriek, then went to chastising.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Eugene Hutton,
She said,
Instead of giving a girl protection, you go carry on acting foolish and fresh like the Queen's prize jester.
But right then and there, a chilly wind blew through and knocked off Eugene's hat.
I need to get back home. My mama has a terrible temper. She's like to stomp up and down if she finds out we're missing.
She is a fair, stout woman, Eugene noted. But just then, before this couple of miscreants could head home, they heard the sound of heavy wheels, groaning, and people marching. The cacophony grew closer and closer, and through the fog they could make out the shapes of ghost horses pulling spectral cannons, and dead soldiers marching as if their graves could no longer contain them, each wearing a vile red coat. You will pay for your moral transgressions, the dead soldier howled and cut his head. The townspeople erupted in fright and dismay until one daughter came forth and accused her of witchcraft. That very night, they put her to the stake and burned her dead. Now let that be a lesson to you young ones not to go courting in the woods, in case the English lurk there.